Hey guys, it's Ndoplex and welcome over to Borderlands 4, and in today's video we are going to be doing a legendary weapon guide on the lead balloon. The lead balloon is a legendary Torgue shotgun with the red text, "For a brick, he flew pretty good," which is actually a reference to our good old Master Chief out of the Halo series. This is a line quoted by Sergeant Johnson.
For a brick, he flew pretty good.
Pretty cool little Easter egg reference there. But with that aside, let's talk about the lead balloon, and really the most important thing is, where do you get this weapon? So this weapon can be acquired pretty early on in the game. There is a main quest that will take you over to the Riptide Grotto, and here you will fight an enemy called Splashstone. This enemy called Splashstone will be the one who's going to drop you the lead balloon. Now of course we are super early days right now, so there's not an awful lot of information about any legendary drops or anything like that, or whether this can actually world drop. I have never personally seen it as a world drop, but I have got it from this guy 3 or 4 times now, I think it is, because I farmed him quite a lot, and so I am very confident to say that this does drop from Splashstone. And if I had to put a guess on it, I would say it is probably around a 10% drop rate. So the quickest and easiest way to get to Splashstone is we're going to teleport to our abandoned post safe house here, and we are just going to head over to the east side to Splashstone. So let's head over there now. Now here we are, like I said before, on the map just outside of Splashstone's arena, and Borderlands 4 has added an amazing feature called Moxxi's Big Encore Machine, meaning that we can actually purchase a Encore, which means that we can fight the boss again without having to save quit. Thank God, gone are the days of having to save quit to refarm an enemy that you want to get the loot from. You can just use Moxxi's Big Encore Machine. Now it does cost a little bit of cash, however, the enemy that you're killing, if you're just picking up that weapon, selling it to the vending machine, and there is always a vending machine next to these Big Encore machines as well, which is amazing. Selling your weapons and stuff that you pick up to this ammo dump, you'll be able to get enough money every single time to refight this boss by using the Encore machine. It is worth noting the cost of getting an enemy to respawn is level determinant. So say if I'm level 6, this might only cost me 3,000 cash, but now the fact that I'm level 22, this is going to cost me, what was it, like 13,000 pounds. So yeah, it does get a little bit more expensive as you level up, but you're getting weapons that sell for more money and all that sort of stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and farm Splashstone until I actually get the legendary to drop. So he's just going to drop down. I've got an amazing ordnance build set up right now with my aim on, which I am going to be doing a bunch of build videos and stuff like that, but it's going to make this boss very, very easy for me. And I have found that when you are getting drops from these enemies, from pretty much any bosses, the legendary drop is almost always the very last thing that comes out of the boss. So make sure you're actually waiting around for like a second after all the loot drops, because you don't want to accidentally miss that legendary. So yeah, we've killed the boss there, and all we're going to do is we're just going to jump back up over to this section here, over to Moxxi's Big Encore Machine, refresh the boss, sell our junk, and then jump right back down into the arena, and that's going to allow us to fight the boss straight away. Now, one of the great things about the way that legendaries work inside of Borderlands 4 is Splashstone actually has multiple legendary drops. However, they do not crowd the loot pool. Every single one of these legendaries will have a chance to drop. Even if you get one of the other legendaries, that does not hinder your chance to get, 2 legendaries in one run, or even 3 legendaries in one run. They do not share the same kind of crowded loot instance. They all have their individual loot instance, so it does not decrease the chance to get a legendary if an enemy has multiple legendary drops, which is just great. All it will mean is there's just an increased chance for getting a legendary, but the same chance for getting the legendary that you want, which is just an absolute fantastic change. There's a lot of issues between crowded loot pools inside of Borderlands 2, where say you'd have an enemy that's got like 3 different loot drops, they might all have like a 10% chance to drop. However, if you get one legendary to drop, you can never get the same legendary to drop. It was either the one or the other. You could never get both at the same time. So that meant that loot pools were just kind of like overcrowded. and it made farming enemies that have multiple loot drops very, very unsatisfying, because you can just constantly be getting the legendary that you don't want, and then it feels bad, doesn't it? So the way that they've done it in Borderlands 4 is very, very good, and actually makes legendaries feel well worth grinding again. Oh, there we are. We got our legendary drop, and that looks like we got the right drop. Let me just deal with this guy real quick. Very nice. And yes, here we are. We have the lead balloon. Very, very nice. What are you doing there? Smash. So there we go. Our lead balloon here. Now, once we've gone and got our lead balloon, what does it actually do? Well, it is a Torgue shotgun, and it fires in 2 different modes. You can fire in the Torgue sticky mode like normal, and you can also fire in the regular mode, and it's going to shoot out these projectiles, which are going to go up and then kind of deploy these little projectiles on the ground, which can be pretty difficult to use. I will say, I think this gun is okay. The damage that it does seems pretty good. However, it does have a little bit of difficulty in how kind of easy it is to use. Now, as far as I'm aware, this weapon can spawn in any element as well as non-elemental. I've seen cryo, I've seen fire, I've seen non-elemental, just regular explosive. So as far as I'm aware, it can spawn in any element, but if I'm wrong there, please do feel free to correct me. So once we've got our Torgue shotgun, is it actually worth it? Well, like I say, the damage is pretty good. I'm spec'd in with my aim on to a build that kind of focuses mostly on ordnance damage, so I haven't really got much that's going to be buffing our explosive damage like really at all here. So I can kind of show you pretty quickly the effectiveness against some of these mobs. You can see here I am firing it in sticky mode, and actually if we manage to load them up with some stickies and detonate those, the damage is actually not bad at all. This is a badass enemy, and we are playing on hard difficulty, so enemies are incredibly tanky, and as you can see, we are making relative short work out of these guys here. Now, in the other mode, it can just be a little bit difficult to use. The projectiles that spawn from the Torgue rockets that shoot up don't seem to track on. I thought they might track on more than they actually do. They have a decent AoE damage on them, but they don't really track, so it does make using this shotgun actually quite difficult. You can sort of shoot at the ground to get them to spawn slightly closer to you, but you can see there how much trouble we're just having taking out one watchman. And yeah, this doesn't get any easier as there are enemies sort of flying around and further away. You cannot shoot this weapon long range. It is a close range weapon. I suppose if you're in sticky mode, you can sort of fire the stickies a relatively decent distance. As you can see, like over here, we can shoot the stickies over there, but it is a shotgun first and foremost. Wow, I can't even detonate the stickies because I can't reload. That's quite funny. I've totally run out of ammo. Do they ever detonate? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Need some ammo here. Yeah, you can shoot the stickies relatively far range, but then it just becomes a standard Torgue sticky launcher. Nothing really special about it. So as far as the sticky version of it goes, you're probably just better off using a regular Torgue shotgun. You'll have an easier time of it. Now you can like point blank shoot these guys, but you are probably going to end up getting yourself killed if you're right in the enemy's faces, especially playing on hard difficulty like I am. One thing to note that is quite good, you do not take self-damage from this. I'm pretty sure you don't take self-damage from any sort of splash things to do with ordnance or Torgue shotguns or rocket launchers, anything like that. I think they've done away with the self-splash damage, so that is very much worth noting. But yeah, as far as the effectiveness of this weapon, would I really recommend it as a powerful weapon? Not really. It can be a bit of fun, and it's not bad for early game, but I do not think this weapon is going to be very good for late game. However, with every single one of these legendary reviews that we do, I am going to stick them into a tier list, and this tier list is not solely based on the damage that these are dealing or how effective they are. I'm actually also going to rate them on, you know, the funness of using the weapon. I think it is a pretty fun weapon to use. I think the weapon looks very nice. The way that it has this kind of circuit board like glow when you're using the weapon. There you go. You can see there's like a circuit board glow on the weapon. I'm not really sure when it triggers or if it's just on a cycle. I find it triggers more when I'm sort of dealing damage to enemies. Could be wrong there. But I think the look of the weapon is very clean. The skin looks very nice. There you go. You can see the yellow really showing up on the weapon there. Oh, look at that. Amazing. The skin looks good, the weapon's clean, it is relatively fun to use, but its overall effectiveness is not great. Now, it of course has the red text, "He flew like a brick." Me, personally, being an absolutely massive Halo fan, am I going to give it bonus points just because it's got a reference to Halo? You goddamn right I am. Now, unfortunately for me, there aren't really any weapon models or anything like that available on any websites at the minute because this game is just so early, so I can't really put it in a tier list. I am going to eventually create a legendary weapons tier list going forward, but for now you'll just have to hear me say my ranking. So overall, I think I'm going to give this weapon a B tier. I do not think it is a super strong weapon. I think the legendary effect is fun and unique, and I like the way the skin looks as well as the callback to Halo. I think that's very cool. So for me personally, this is one that is going to get a B tier. If I was to recommend using it effectively, use it in sticky mode. The impact mode with the actual lead balloon effect that we've got here just isn't very good. And also, it does end up using quite a lot of ammo to use this weapon. So there we have it, the lead balloon, a legendary Torgue shotgun in Borderlands 4. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will have plenty more legendary weapons, grenades, shields, and all things Borderlands related covered on this channel. So, I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.